I guess I feel sexually empowered when I want sex and I just get it. So if that means, I have a guy that I've been chasing and I'm texting him and then I get him to get into my bed, then yeah, it's like, woohoo. And I'm not going to be ashamed of that. Like, if I want to have sex, I'm going to have sex. And I spent so much of my life not having sex. So I think it's just natural and part of being human. And anyone who thinks that because I want to do that, that I'm cheap or a slut, well, fuck you. I mean, can I say that? Because, you're just judging me, and you go live your life and I'll go live mine. My mum came to Australia because she was one of 12 children, and in Cyprus you have to have a dowry to get married, and she lived in a very poor village, so a lot of the sisters were sent over to marry. And my dad came to make money for his family because they had no money. So when they came here, they had their children, they were like, well, we want to give you a proper education. So for me that meant studying accounting and computing, excelling in that space, and I did. I guess marriage was one of the things that was something that I aspired to from a very young age, and I think I saw marriage unconsciously as freedom. So that's why I got married at 22, to have my freedom from the rules around me. But it wasn't until, much later on through my marriage that I realized I'd kind of gone from one prison to another. So I think for me, having my daughter and thinking, what kind of woman do I want to raise, and what kind of things do I want to teach her? Do I want to teach her to just do what everyone else tells her to do, or do I want to teach her that she can follow her own dreams and be herself? So that was definitely when I started on the journey of going, okay, well, actually, who am I? Not who does everyone want me to be, but who am I? The more I wanted to be who I was, the more people were like, be normal, what are you doing? Stay married, So asking those questions of myself in relation to my daughter, I realized that I was living a life that I didn't want to live, and that's what led to my divorce and my emancipation from religion, from culture, from everyone. I basically ran away and shut myself away from everyone to kind of start the journey of finding out who I was. And that was really, really hard because I'd never lived alone before, and I didn't really know how to be alone. It was pretty scary living alone. I had a lot of anxiety in the night where I would wake up and feel like someone was strangling me. I was never taught how to be on my own. I was taught that you need to get married to find someone to look after you. And that is such a disempowering thing to teach a woman, I think, because what we need to be teaching our women is you can be on your own, you can find who you are as a person, you can do whatever you want. You don't need to have a man by your side. It's nice to have love, I'm all for that, but to find love, you have to find yourself and love yourself. And I didn't even know what loving myself meant, and it's actually really hard to do that and to look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, okay, I'm okay with this person. I'm okay with my flaws and stuffing up and all that. Sexuality for me means being free to explore your sexuality in whatever way feels natural within your body. So from a young age, sex was kind of not really discussed in my household other than something that should be saved for marriage. Masturbation was very not on and a sin and dirty. I think sex and religion together can be very complicated. When I had to go for communion, I had to be pure. I had to go to confession and confess my sins. Well, is it a sin to have sex? Well, I don't think it is. And I think that's why when I left my marriage, I left my religion too, because I don't believe that. Why should I confess that I've had a natural desire to share my body with someone? I wouldn't say I had a sex education, I had a sex repression. When I was older, I didn't really even think that sex was this thing that could be celebrated. It was just this kind of burden, this dirty thing. The first kind of sexual curiosity and education that I got was through watching porn. I watched porn as a married woman with my husband for the first time, and it fascinated me because I didn't even know it existed, first of all, and I used it as a way to kind of help sexually awaken me, because even when I was married, I was still very sexually repressed. Sometimes I feel like I'm still scratching the surface with my sexuality. I think there are things that I still want to discover that I'm afraid to discover. When I was younger, I just thought sex was just this thing that you just do with your husband and it feels good and you have a baby and stuff. I didn't understand what sexuality means. Touch, sleeping with more than one person, sleeping with a girl. Like, there's so many different things, and sex isn't just the act of sex, it's the foreplay, it's the places you go and the films you see, and we should feel like able and not embarrassed to have sex, explore sex in every single way we want, just as a man does. People might read my book and think I've had sex with 500 people, but I haven't. Like, actually the poems are about one guy. Being sexually empowered and free, it might not mean for you that you go and sleep with 500 people. It might mean you sleep with 1 or 2 people or 3 people. You might not sleep with anyone for a year. That's happened to me. So it's just about acknowledging what is happening for you and what your sexual impulses are, what your desires are, and doing it. And women should not be slut-shamed. They should not be shamed. They should just be free. In any way, shape or form, when it comes to sexuality or whatever they want to do. Complete freedom. That's my motto. I fought so hard for my independence and my freedom. And it's scary. It's really, really scary and really hard. And I didn't have women around me that I could look at to inspire me. I didn't have any females on TV that I could look at that were experiencing what I was experiencing. I was just on the couch crying all the time and just thinking, why can't I be normal? Why can't I be normal? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And it was actually my writing that really, was my solace, my hope, my, writing out my words and what I was going through. And so now my art is about communicating to those women that feel like they're being held down and suffocated and pushed down, and saying to them, here, look, I went through this. I know it's scary. I know it's hard, but just fight. And I promise you'll get through the other side and you'll get the respect that you deserve, and you'll stand tall and you'll stand proud, and you'll be like, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, fuck off. And so, that's where I am now. And it feels really good.